Hello students, welcome to your channel Cbse English classes. I hope you all are good. And in today's video lecture, I have picked up a poem, Dust of Snow from Cbse, which is for 10th standard. It has been written by Robert Frost, and as we know that Robert Frost was a great nature lover, and he has written a number of poems that are all about nature and the beauty of nature. However, this poem, written by Robert Frost, is a very small poem. It is Dust of Snow. It's a very small poem, but the meaning and the theme that it is carrying is very deep. So, we will see that there are basically two major objects in this poem that are crow and hemlock tree. Crow is actually, you can say, symbolic for gloom, for sorrow, sadness, grief, and at the same time, hemlock tree is a poisonous tree which is found in Europe. So, being a poisonous tree, it is also not standing for anything good, but for gloom and for sadness only. But then these two objects of nature that are symbolic for gloom and for sadness, for grief, they will rather serve as positive creations and will change the entire mood of the speaker here. In this poem we will see. Now, what we have to do, we just have to imagine that the speaker in the poem, maybe the poet, it is not clearly mentioned, is in a very sad mood for some reason, even the reason is not mentioned. And in that very sad mood, the poet or that speaker is just passing by from there. And in the meantime, or while passing from there, it happens that there is a tree, hemlock tree, which I told you is a poisonous tree which is found in Europe. And on that tree, a crow is sitting there. And there's a lot of snow all around. So, snow is also symbolic for something, as we know that snow in itself is symbolic for sadness because it happens during the winter season, and winter season or snowfall, they are symbolic for dreariness, dullness, and sorrow and grief, just because there is a kind of a depression all around, and nobody prefers to go out of their homes during winter season, especially in the countries where the winters are quite long lasting and they are quite harsh. So snowfall takes place very often over there, and then the people there are very cautious about it because for them it is not as enjoyable as to us it may be, just because they keep witnessing it almost every day during the winter, and it is actually harmful for them, just because it causes a lot of cold there, and resultantly they do not prefer leaving their homes during winter season, and they prefer staying back at their homes. So what happens that outside there seems to be quite loneliness, desolation, you can say, or you can say that that isolation or desolation causes a kind of a depression in the entire environment in such countries. So, when we're talking about snow, we also get to understand that the atmosphere must be quite deserted and desolate, and as a result, there must be a lot of depression all around. And that depression, which is in the environment, is quite harmonious with the mood of the poet or the speaker in the poem here, as the speaker is also not feeling well and very sad. So he is just passing by from there, and as he passes by that tree, that hemlock tree, it happens that from that tree some dust of snow falls upon him, whether on his head or on his shoulders, that is not clear. But that snow or that takes place, that snowfall that takes place upon him is not a natural one, Actually, the tree was quite overloaded with the snow, and that snow was probably dusted by the crow, or the crow was flapping its wings or something. But then, consequently, some dust of snow fell down upon the speaker, and that dust of snow that touched his body falling from overhead, from above, that changed his mood altogether, abruptly. And you can say it was like a transition for him from that gloom to joy. And this is something which is important or significant as a message in the poem, because we have to understand how, nature can help you uh, to feel positive. Nature can help you to feel joy. Nature is such a blessing to us, given by God. We do not realize it, we do not understand it, but it is true that nature is a great blessing and a great joy for us. And despite those objects being a symbol for gloom and for sadness, they also, serve as a source of positivity and elation or happiness for the speaker. And this is something which has been portrayed in the poem in a very beautiful manner. So, the way a crow shook down on me. He's saying the way it happened, that the crow, which was on the tree, and it shook down on me the dust of a snow from a hemlock tree. Okay, before I go ahead, I just want to tell you that this poem, although consisting of very few lines, it has got a lot of literary devices, uh, considering its length. So, it has got a lot of literary devices, and the very first literary device that I can see here is enchantment. So enchantment is a figure of speech in which it happens that a sentence which begins in a line, it does not get completed in the same line, but it is followed in the next lines ahead, and that too without any punctuation mark, and it comes to an end in the following lines. So this is called enchantment. Like here in this poem, if we see, then this entire poem we see that the statement which begins, in the poem, it does not come to an end anywhere, but at the end of the poem itself, it comes to an end, and there only we get a full stop, and in the middle of it, there is no punctuation mark at all. So this is how the statement, which starts in the first line, it comes to an end in the last line of the poem. So this is how lines get broken, but the sentence is same, and without any punctuation mark, the sentence uh, comes to another line and then another line simultaneously, and it is completed in the last line of the poem. Then other figures of speech that I can see, I'll tell you. The way a crow shook down on me, जिस तरह से उस क्रो ने मेरे ऊपर वो जो dust of snow था वो फेंका था, the dust of snow from a hemlock tree. So एज वी नो दैट यहाँ पर जो लाइन है वो ब्रेक हो रही है, लेकिन सेंटेंस ब्रेक नहीं हो रहा है। सेंटेंस सेम जो स्टार्टिंग लाइन थी पोएम की, वहाँ से सेंटेंस जो शुरू हुआ था वो सेंटेंस कैरी ऑन हो रहा है नेक्स्ट लाइंस में, और वो लास्ट लाइन पे एंड हो रहा है बिना किसी पंक्चुएशन मार्क के, जिसकी वजह से आई टोल्ड यू ये एन्चैम्पमेंट है, फिगर ऑफ स्पीच। तो यहाँ पर एक चीज़ और कि जैसे यहाँ पर है शुक डाउन ऑन मी द डस्ट ऑफ स्नो, तो यहाँ पर शुक में एस है और स्नो में भी एस है, क्योंकि ये एक सिंगल सेंटेंस है, लाइन ब्रेक हुई है बट द सेंटेंस इज सेम. So we have to consider it as a figure of speech which is called alliteration, just because we will see that there are two words in the same sentence that have got the same first letter, and that first letter is a consonant sound letter which is S. So this is alliteration used here. From a hemlock tree. So it has happened, from a hemlock tree. वो जो वो था क्रो, वो हेमलॉक ट्री पे बैठा और वहाँ से उसने कुछ डस्ट ऑफ स्नो थ्रो किया है इनके बॉडी पे, जो कि शोल्डर या हेड पे आके गिरी है। हैज़ गिवन माई हार्ट, अगैन हैज़ गिवन माई हार्ट, तो यहाँ पर हेमलॉक ट्री का एच, हैज़ का एच और हार्ट का एच, तो एच रिपीट हो रहा है स्टेटमेंट में। एंड एच जो है वो एक कॉन्सोनेंट साउंड लेटर है, और क्योंकि दो तीन वर्ड्स में फर्स्ट लेटर रिपीट हुआ है एक सेंटेंस के अंदर, और इसीलिए ये फिगर ऑफ स्पीच है विच इज़ कॉल्ड एलिट्रेशन। तो वो जब क्रो ने डस्ट ऑफ स्नो को फेंका ऊपर से, तो ऐसा लगा जैसे कि मेरा पूरा मूड चेंज हो गया। ऐसा लगा कि वो डस्ट ऑफ स्नो आकर के मेरे हार्ट को टच किया, and a change of mood, or all of a sudden my entire mood changed from being sorrowful to being joyful. Means I all of a sudden became happy, and a change of mood and saved some part. So saved some part again. There is the same figure of speech, alliteration, s repeating in two words here. We can see so, and I had also, see, we have to understand that alliteration is a figure of speech when we find some adjacent words or closely connected words in a sentence. They have got the same first letter, and that is a consonant sound letter. So this is called alliteration. So I told you thus far that there is enchantment as a figure of speech in the poem, and then alliteration is there. And saved some part of a day I had rued. So rued means regret. So he's saying that अभी तक हम बहुत परेशान थे, ऐसा लग रहा था जैसे किसी बात पर बहुत पछता रहे थे। आई वॉज रिग्रेटिंग कि क्यों ऐसा हो गया, एंड थिंग्स वर गोइंग लाइक दैट इन माई माइंड, बट देन all of a sudden, my mood changed and I began to feel happy about everything. And this change in my mood had taken place only because of the falling of the dust of the snow upon me, and that had been done by the crow, and that too the crow was sitting on the hemlock tree. So here the poet has deliberately taken the hemlock tree and the crow. Crow, which is considered as an ominous bird, and hemlock tree, which is a poisonous tree. So you can understand that these two are quite negative creatures or creations of God, and they have served as a source of positivity and happiness. So, which is ironical. And so, one figure of speech that has been used in this poem is irony as well. So, enchantment is there, irony is there, and alliteration is there. Another figure of speech that has been used in this poem is assonance. Now, what is assonance? Assonance is actually a figure of speech when in a sentence it happens that we find that some closely connected words have got a vowel sound prominently. So, like here we see shook down on me in the second line. So o is a vowel sound and it is being repeated, or it is prominently noticed in that line and even the line ahead. So this is how when a vowel sound is prominently found in a sentence, it is called assonance. So the theme of the poem was a communication between nature and a human being. And nature has shown this to the human being, that nature is always there as a supporter, as a mentor, as an advisor, counselor, lover, and the best friend of human beings. It is all about how we perceive it and how much we are able to see through that. And this is a great message that has been conveyed through this poem by Robert Frost. So I hope you have understood the poem. Thank you so much for watching.